It's a nice day for a video. Welcome back. How are you guys? I am doing the GoPro and microphone again, as you can see. Got my fluffy microphone right there. It's not as sunny today, so the video should be a little bit more balanced. Still got the sunglasses though. I don't trust all the particles on the road. Some stuff gets stuck in my eyes while I'm riding. Could kind of be dangerous. So this is Wednesday, I believe, and had a bit of a topic to talk about, just something that came up in different conversations recently. I don't know if you've all seen or had the chance to see Dave Chappelle's new special. I know it's gotten a lot of controversy lately, so let's talk about it. This one is basically going to be around the concept of truths and tribalism. Truths and tribalism are basically intertwined around the idea that a group of people can agree on what's true, and tribalism touches on the idea that people feel safe and confident and comfortable in groups of supportive numbers, basically. So whichever group or tribe you're in, that's the one you vote for. A lot of the times without even thinking, without being critical about the points, you just kind of, I belong to red, so everything that red is about, I'm about too. Or I'm in camp blue and everything red is about, I am against, basically. Without any other types of explanation, that's kind of what tribalism is about. And this can be seen in like sports teams and cities that don't like other cities. It's definitely prevalent in politics. It's even if you're like, oh, I'm into rollerblades, or oh, I'm into skateboards, you know, like that's a form of what I would consider tribalism. Whichever camp you're in, whichever feathers you fly, others that flock with you, that's your group, that's your tribe. Now, it was important at some point to back up each other in a tribe or a group or small community when, you know, everybody in societies, when they were more savage or uncivilized, it was necessary. So it makes me wonder, if we still have tribal behaviors now, are we really that civilized? Or are tribal type mentalities just not as civilized as others who don't seem to need tribes to get by? I don't know. It just makes me think. Oh, you know, like in a more audio-centric topic, because I basically can't pull myself away from either or community. Just my other channel happens to be focused solely on audio, and this one is usually about nonsense in one form or another. The audio thing is more like, oh, tubes or analog versus digital or Class D versus A. You know, if you really like high electricity bills and you live somewhere extremely cold like the Netherlands, I suppose you could probably crank out like Norwegian amplifiers at Class A all the time. Go for it. I'm all about a Griffin Audio's Diablo amplifier. Sure, go for it. Those are awesome. Or maybe you can turn over a Krell or two. You know, if you live somewhere really hot, probably don't want to have really, really hot items around your house. Anyways, I digress. Pulling away from audio. The tribalism thing really gets to me because the concerning part is critical thinking. And when critical thinking is at a minimum, you have high risk of being manipulated, because who's ever at the head of a tribe has the opportunity to just say or do whatever they feel like doing, and if nobody is putting them in check, and you run into all kinds of problems. You just follow along, and then all of a sudden, like years later or whatever the case may be, like, oh, but wait a second, how the fuck did we get here? And they're like, oh yeah, that's right. That guy with the scar on his face and the feather stuck up his ass was telling us about this thing, and then all of a sudden no one took ivermectin. I'm sorry. I just threw that shit in there. It makes sense. I am at the fucking horse racing track. Maybe I can get some ivermectin over here. Hey, dude, the white SUV, do you got ivermectin? No? I guess I'm not getting horse dewormer over here. What's up, Joe Rogan? I support you, man. Critical thinkers are a rare breed. To touch on horses again, breed. But yeah, Dave Chappelle's special was really awesome, and that's what he is doing, is he's telling jokes and stringing concepts together in a somewhat enlightening way, but he's also asking very critical questions. One of them is like, to what degree do I have to participate in your self-image? That's such a great question. Now, I can respect and uphold and understand what's going on there, but the question's valid. It's an individual's expression of self, but the idea of extending that self into other titles means other people have to participate by default. That's the same thing, like, say you say good morning to someone in the morning. If they don't say good morning back, they're being rude. Or if you speak to somebody and they don't answer you, they ignore you, they're being rude. So it's almost like, in just the interest of engagement, if you don't follow along with what set standard politeness, political correctness, if you're not like automatically following in suit, then you become this like abuser of some kind. And it depends on what kind of noise somebody makes about the issue, because if somebody doesn't say good morning back, you don't show up in the news. People are not trying to fucking cancel you because you didn't say good morning. I mean, maybe you didn't hear them. Maybe you're really ignoring them because you're not in the mood. Like, that's possible. But you can get away with not saying good morning and being rude in other ways, like, I don't hold the doors open for everybody. Fucking shocker. But I mean, like, if I close the door or let the door close on even a woman, I fucking said it. If I let the door close on a woman and I didn't hold the door for her, I automatically like, oh, chivalry's dead, and you're, you know, because I automatically got put in a position by somebody else under set standards that I didn't live up to, and all of a sudden, I'm the asshole. What? Look, I get it. I understand that there's things going around that we got to respect. I understand that there are people suffering with identity issues. Maybe not even that's the suffering. The suffering's more like other systematical or systemic problems in society. Not necessarily acknowledgement, because I can acknowledge and respect the fact that it's going on, but demanding my participation is a little bit far. Demanding is the issue. If it happens, cool. If someone doesn't hold the door open for you, don't cry about it on TikTok. Relax. It's a fucking door. It's more personal, of course, when it's like identity and that kind of thing. Like, I get that, and I understand that people are going through something because it's personal, but that's not anybody else's responsibility. Whatever you're going through is up to you as a human being, and if other people are not going to fall in line, they're just not going to fall in line. I mean, maybe I'm coming from a different world here, but the idea of personal responsibility and life means that you got to figure it out on your own. You have to grow some strength and some self-esteem, some confidence. You have to be able to deal with some of the issues without everybody else bending the knee to your will. I mean, at the end of the day, Jon Snow made it. He wasn't going to bend no knees. Maybe you did, but you know what happens in that show. That was all manipulation, straight out the wazoo. We're gonna go for a long ride today. We'll see how far I can make it. I mean, see how far I can make it as in I don't plan on getting hit by a car. But just this topic interests me because I am all about standing up for people's rights and their preferences, and I believe in this this duality or multiplicity of expression, self-expression, human expression. But I don't believe in forcing other people to do stuff. Like, gonna get hit. No, I'm not. This is fun. I can do this. I'm a professional. Sorry, the sidewalk is really bumpy. See, my hand's not on the steering wheel, the handlebars. And now it is, so it gets bumpy. My apologies. The new cameras will be better. So, where was I? Yes, so respecting individuals' abilities or responses, right? Like we all have an opportunity to respond in different ways. And that's how you understand, that's how you know if someone's being genuine. Thank you. Fucking drivers, man. Well, there is a big transport truck here you can't see around, so this fucking guy's in the way too. Anyways, that's what's going on. That's blocking traffic, so they had to go around. So the idea then of if somebody does hold the door and allows you to go through, or they put their coat down over a mud puddle so you don't get your shoes dirty, like that's allowing the individual to choose to be a nice person. The choice to be a nice person. Now you can hold your flag up, and if someone acknowledges it, good. That means they are a good person. But if you're holding it up to everybody to, like you're demanding everybody comply to it, then you don't get a chance to identify who's a good person, who isn't. If you let them choose, and their actions speak for that person because they've chosen to follow or they've chosen to show respect, the showing of respect has to be a choice. You can't mandate a show of respect. That eliminates the point. Then everybody can fake it. It's the same thing they said about how like systemic racism is built in, because you can still have Klans members in the world. Just because they wear a suit and tie doesn't make them any less racist. I've heard that said before. And that's the same thing like hiding behind any kind of like normative speech or patterns, or if you're telling everybody how to act and they act that way, you can't tell if they're being genuine anymore. You got to give them choice. Oh, it's noisy. I don't know how this microphone's going to hold up, but thanks for coming for the journey. We just passed 13 minutes of absolute horror. But it's a nice ride. This is a nice area. This is my atypical ride home. I still don't show everybody which way I actually go home, because obviously I don't want some people that disagree with me to meet me on the way home and be like, hey, I heard you say some shit about apple pie. Fuck you about apple pie, yo. I don't like apple pie. You're supposed to cut it into squares, not triangles. And for God's sakes, don't put your dick in it. American Pie movie, comedy, anybody see that? It's a parody. You should probably watch it to figure that joke out. Apple pie. If you made it to the end of the video, comment apple pie. Last time I was apple sauce, now we're going with apple pie. We're gonna work our way up to the whole goddamn tree. But not yet. Yeah, pay attention. Get off your fucking phone when you're in your car. There's traffic and people crossing the road, lady. Take it easy. Wow, I should turn my camera around. You guys should see what I see one of these days. People are mental on the road. So yeah, truth and tribalism. So the tribalism part gets everybody on the same team, and then they kind of can make up whatever truth they want because they have the numbers to support it. Again, that doesn't make it true. I mean, back in the day, there was this guy named Copernicus, and he argued that the sun was at the middle of the solar system, and everybody was like, nah, man, that's not true. You're full of shit. We don't believe that. Lo and behold, 300, 400 years later, remember that guy? That guy was right. That one guy was telling the truth. And all those other people didn't believe him. They didn't believe the truth because they were fixated on an idea that was supported by the numbers. Just because you have numbers doesn't make it true. There is a way to verify truth in the world, and it's not by appealing to the masses. Truth or fact doesn't care how you feel. Fucking shocker. 2 plus 2 will equal 4 no matter what your gender or identity is. Just saying, I'm just separating the facts here. I'm separating one point from another. Trying to make clear that as a society, we can choose differently. We can still be together. We can still have our groups. We can still have our preferences. I mean, I don't expect hip-hop fans to always get along with metalheads. It's really cool when they do, but you don't have to. That's the whole beauty of the idea of having a choice, right? Choice. Express your choices. But not to the degree of spreading superstition. Or manipulating populations based on prejudice, stereotype, false premises, just in general, any kind of fake information. That's not cool. That, providing false information for the intent of controlling a population takes away choice. And I guess I'm saying I'm pro-choice. You should be able to choose, but there are certain choices that come with a sequence, right? There is a sequence of events in choice where you should be responsible for your actions. Accountability is huge. Huge. I don't ever mean to allow someone to escape their accountability for the option of choice. Holy shit, there's a fucking SUV that rolled over. Check it out. Hold on. Turn my camera around. Wow. That's pretty impressive. She looks okay. That you don't see that every day. I guess I'm glad I went for a longer video, otherwise I would have never caught that. Anyways, it's a bit noisy over here, so I'm gonna end the video. I want to thank you very much for taking part in my discussion. I hope that some of it made sense. I hope that some of it inspires some thinking. And like I said, I respect everybody's got their groups and things that they're going through and the things that they're trying to change about the world. By all means, change them to a truth, to a real truth, to something that wasn't like manipulated, something that wasn't systemic, something that includes all the different factors, something that we can all think about equally, but choose to choose which way we're going to go about it. You can't choose to be racist. Racism in general is just a wrong thing. There are certain rights and truths, and there are certain morals that we can get into in a different discussion that we ought to abide by. Obviously, things like murder is wrong. There's a lot of those things that stand to justice and freedoms and rights, and anything that we're choosing to do should align with one of those things as a universal thing, but not as a tribalism thing. Just be careful how the thought processing and the information is being used, and I guess we'll be better off if we do that. That's the whole idea. So when someone is saying one thing against this or one thing against that, then open the big picture and see what else they're judging, what else they're accepting, what else they're disapproving of. Like, is it the same thing across the board? Is it like all this, or is it just some this? And if it's some, then it's discriminatory. And we don't like that. So what's going on there? Just be critical, and I'll catch you in the next one. And hopefully I don't see any more SUVs flipping over. See you later.